Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Rabbi Kramer. I'm filling in today for Rabbi Bookett in the Chitas today on the 10th day of Elul on August 18th. So we're going to start off with Chumash. We've got a very interesting Chumash with a lot of different laws. Verse number 8. Loi Sesaiv Adami ki achichahu loy sesaiv mitzri ki gera yisi ba'artzai. You shall not despise the Edomite, for he is your brother, and you shall not despise an Egyptian, for you were sojourned in his land. So let's look at each of them. The Edomite, you shouldn't despise him completely, even though it's appropriate to despise him a little bit because of what he did against you. He went to war against you. So a little bit, but not completely. Lo tesaiv Mitzri, same thing. Absolutely. Because even though they did something terrible against you, right? They persecuted the Jewish people. But because they hosted us in the time of need, during the time of Yosef, therefore you should not despise them completely. Verse number 9. Banim asher yuladu lahem der shlishi yavi lahem bekahal Yisrael. Children who are born from third generation, after 3 generations, can convert and become part of the Jewish people. So what we see, something that Rashi right away says, what we see something interesting is that one who killed the Jewish people, like the Edomites and the Egyptians who went to war against the Jewish people, those people, we say, they only 3 generations, they have to wait until they can be part of the Jewish nation, if they commit to taking on all of Torah mitzvahs. But for the other people, for the Moabites who made the Jewish people, sin against Hashem, they had to wait much longer. They had to wait maybe forever or 10 generations. So it's very interesting to see over here the difference. Okay, I think we're going now to another topic a little bit. When one goes outside of a camp against their enemies, you shall be aware of any evil that might take place. Why? Rashi says, for the Satan accuses in a time of danger. So therefore, when you're in a time of danger, you have to take extra careful to make sure that you're good, that you're doing everything correctly. So at a time that you're going to war against your enemies, you have to be very careful not to do anything bad or put yourself in a precarious situation. Verse number 11. Again, another topic. We were going from topic to topic. When a man is unclean, because of an emission at night, he should go outside of the camp. He shall not come back within the camp. I'm just going to do the other verse and then we'll go back to Rashi. He shall bathe in the water towards the evening. And then when the sun sets, he may come back within the camp. Mikra Laila, a nocturnal emission. Really, it's not just if somebody has this seminal emission during the night, even during the day, but it's just the law says night because that's a common time to have that. V'yetze el michutz lamachana, zu mitzvos aseh, this is a positive commandment to leave. That's a negative commandment. So there was a positive commandment to leave the encampment and a negative commandment not to go back inside until you do the ritual bathing in the water. Verse number 13. And you shall have a designated place outside the camps that you go out there. And we're going to say to go to the restroom. You should do it outside the camp. Verse number 14. You shall keep a stake in addition to your weapons. And you shall be, when you sit down outside to relieve yourself, you shall dig with it and you shall return to cover your excrement. So basically the restrooms were not within the camp. Just like when after you have a seminal emission, you have to leave the camp. Even for going to the restroom, you would go outside the camp, and with your weapons, you have a shovel, and you dig a hole, and you properly dispose of when you relieve yourself. Verse number 15. The reason is because Hashem is going with you in your camp. Latzilcha, to rescue you. God is with you in the camp, and he delivers you from your enemies before you. Therefore your camp shall be holy, so that ye shall not see anything unseemly or naked among you, and would turn away from you. So in order to do this, that is why the restrooms were outside the camp, not inside the camp. Verse number 16. Loi taskir eved, again going on to a completely new topic. Loi taskir eved eladoinav asher yinatz aleilecha me'im adoinav. You don't have to return a slave to his master if he seeks refuge with you from his master. This is talking about a Jewish servant who had been sold, Rashi says, to a Gentile. Or another explanation is even a Gentile servant who fled from outside the land of Israel to the land of Israel, they can find refuge there. Verse number 17. He shall be allowed to reside among you. We're talking about this person who is seeking refuge. He shall be allowed to reside among you wherever he chooses within all of your cities, where it is good for him, and you shall not oppress him. There shall not be a prostitute from the daughters of Israel, shall not be a prostitute from the sons of Israel. Verse number 19. You shall not bring a prostitute's fee or the price of a dog. Umechir kelev beis Hashem alekecha lechol neder kisevas Hashem alekecha gam shnehem. So what happens is if somebody used a sheep or the price of a dog for in order to pay a prostitute, you cannot then use that sheep in the Beis Hamikdash. You can look at Rashi, a prostitute's fee. For example, if one gave her a lamb as her fee, it is unfit to be offered up as a sacrifice. Verse number 20. Loi sasich le'achicha neshach kesef neshach eichel neshach kol davar asher yishach. You cannot give interest to your brother, whether it be interest on money, interest on food, or interest on any other item for which is normally taken. This is something very important that we live by till today, about not taking interest. And when you have like a Jewish bank or a Jewish type of loans, there's a workaround, but generally you cannot. Interest can even be something like saying thank you, can be considered interest. Verse number 21. Lanachri tasich. However, to a Gentile, you are allowed to do interest. La'achicha loy tasich. Laman yivarechecha Hashem alekecha, so that God will bless your ways. B'chol mishlach yadecha ala aretz asher ataba shama l'rishta. and all your endeavors on the land to which you come to possess. We'll go to the next one. Verse number 22. Kisidar neder la Hashem. When you make a vow to Hashem, Elekecha, your God, lo yisa'acher l'shalmai, you shall not delay in paying it. Like when you promise something to the Beis Hamikdash or to anything that you promise to Hashem. Ki darish yidrishenu Hashem Elekecha mi'imcha v'yeh b'chachet. For Hashem will demand it of you, and it will be counted against you as a sin. So be very careful when making vows. If you shall refrain from making a vows, then you shall save yourself from sin. So it's a good idea to be careful with making vows. Verse number 24, observe and do was omitted from your lips. Just as be careful what you observe, what you have emitted from your lips, just as you have pledged to Hashem, your God, as a donation which you have spoken with your mouth. So before was a negative commandment, and this now adds a positive commandment to do. The negative commandment was not to delay in paying a vow, and the positive commandment is to do something that you said you were going to do. All right. A lot of different laws over there, some interesting laws, lot to think about. No more verses. Let's go to the Tanya of today. We're continuing the Geras HaKodesh. So, Hine Madas Zois, it is well known, Yisrael b'tivam heim rachmanim v'goyim lechasadem. Jews, by their very nature, act compassionately and perform deeds, good deeds. Mipnei hiyos nafshay sechem nimshachas mimidosav yisbarich. This comes from the fact that their souls come from Hashem, from Hashem's godly attributes. Asher hachased goiver behem al midas hadin v'hagvura v'atzimtzum, in which chesed is the prevailing attribute over din and gvura and simtzum. K'moshe Kosov, like it says in the pasuk, gvar chastoy al yireyav. His chesed prevails over those who fear him. So we see over here that chesed is stronger than gevura. Sholachein nikras hanashama bas koyin. That's why the soul is called a bas koyin. A koyin has the attribute of chesed. Like it's written in the Zohar. So since the soul derives from the divine attributes, which are dominated by chesed and compassion, kindness and compassion, therefore Jews by their very nature are kind and compassionate. But what are we going to say right now? This tzedakah, this charity that comes from this source, nikreis b'shem maaseh tzedakah. What we're going to say is that maaseh, let's read it inside. Kishem maaseh neifel adover shekvar naseh, or shenaseh talmin b'meila. The wording maaseh tzedakah seems to denote that it's something that just happens. Either it's already done or it happens like continuously, constantly. It's something rugil. It's something that it's existent and common and constant. So it's not something that was put much effort into. But Afkan, here too with regard to tzedakah, harimidas hachesed v'rachmanis ha'atuva benafshis kol beis Yisrael mikvar me'es b'yosin v'ishtal shalusam v'midosim yisparich. Over here too, the kindness and compassion that's implanted into the souls of everybody from the Bnei Yisrael, from the children of Israel, from its time of creation, all the way till it evolved from Hashem's attributes. This is all verses explaining how it comes directly from Hashem, how Hashem blew it into us and embedded within us this chesed. So this is something that's just automatic. However, the gam, the chol yom v'yom, b'tuvei mechadish ma'aseh bereshis. Every single day, God renews creation, like we've talked about in the past. It's not that God created the world and now the world just exists ex nihilo from then. God has to constantly be creating the world every second anew. So the same thing is with this characteristic of this kind characteristic. It's constantly being blown into us, or being memshachas. It's constantly being going down from Hashem's attribute of chesed to our neshama, this attribute of chesed. However, we must do something more. Achlosh avoda, the term avoda, like we say, like avodas hatfila, and harving and learning, working and learning, that term means not something. It cannot be referring to the tzedakah, ma'aseh tzedakah, that comes automatically, the nature of positivity and kindness that comes automatically. It must be that we have to do an avodah for this. We have to do work for this. Avodah applies only to what a person does with immense exertion, contrary to his soul's inclination. He overcomes his nature, in deference for the Hashem's will. For example, to exhaust oneself, until the pressing out of the soul. Over here as well, when we talk about tzedakah, we need to do it in an avodah way. We have to do it in a way where we're putting effort into it, not just the innate tzedakah. Tzedakah means charity, and it means any type of kindness, right? We can't just do it in the innate way that we have from Hashem. We have to litin harba yoser miteva rachmanusay v'ritzaynai. You have to give much more than one's nature of compassion and will would have compelled one to. Like the rabbi said on the verse that says noisin titain, it seems like a double lashon. It's a double expression. Give, you shall give. Afilu mea pa'amim, even 100 times. So to recap today's Tanya, yes, we have an innate attribute of chesed, of kindness and goodness and tzedakah that is given to us by Hashem when he blew our souls into us. That's called ma'aseh tzedakah. Ma'aseh comes from the word of just, it's there. It happens. It happened and it keeps on happening. But we need avodah. We need more than that, above our nature, above our natural inclination. We need to go above and beyond to help another. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed today's Chumash and Tanya as much as I did learning with you. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Rabbi.